guys and girls of YouTube. Now, I must begin by commending your taste in games, because you've found yourself here, and of course your attempts to better your knowledge, which is always a very noble goal. Okay, now for some time I've had people ask me for in-game advice and inquire about potential videos to provide an overview of Team Fortress 2 and how to trade and that sort of thing. Now, I've finally compiled a two-part video that I intend to eventually expand to cover other topics that are also useful for success in Team Fortress 2, which is what we all want. Now, in part 1, I'll introduce myself, orient you with TF2, quickly explain currency, aka money, item types, qualities, the difference between common and rare items, the values of those items, and finally the places that you can earn profit through trading. Okay, so my name is Jed the Jedi, and to live with you, my name's not really Jed. However, I am actually a Jedi. Alright, now it is a fact that two people can trade to become better off at no one's expense, and this is because our preferences are so different. I find this really important as I actually care about the well-being of others as well as myself, and this attitude helps me to thrive in a place like TF2 when everyone wants to trade for things that make them happy without actually being hated by everyone. I've been playing games since I was 3 years old, and they bring me a great amount of joy. I find my opinion is often valued by others and understand that everything I say is in fact an opinion. And so the best thing I can tell anyone is that there's more than one way to skin a cat, meaning that all advice that I give I have tested through my own experience, but like you I have much to learn. Alright, now all philosophies aside, I've played tens of thousands of hours of games over the years, and I really mean that. In addition, I have an economics degree, although it's a rather unorthodox one. In Team Fortress 2, I have over 5,000 hours clocked and about 800 items, most of which I treasure greatly. It's pretty obvious I'm a collector, and Spy is my favourite class without a doubt. He's pretty much the frickin' Predator. I spend most of my time in the New Zealand-based trading server GetSome, the Australian-based trading server Ozfuriosity, occasionally checking out the cool hats in Universal Traders, New Traders on the Block, and TF2 Traders, which are all unusual trade servers. Okay, now I hope I seem worth listening to, and let's get to TF2. I've got a custom heads-up display, so it may look a little different from what you're looking at, but the menus are exactly the same. Okay, let's get through this boring stuff fast. Firstly, there's multiplayer and co-op. These buttons will let you select a game type, and then will automatically find a game for you. Next, but more importantly, is the servers button. Refine maps and server names with a search keyword and sort by number of players or latency. For example, to go to a trading server, you would search trade, click refresh all, and then scroll down the list until you find a nicely populated server. Then we have the ever important tab that is items. Now from this tab you can view all of your items in your backpack with 50 items per page and page numbers at the bottom. Free-to-play players have 1 page and premium players have 6 pages and can get more over time. Items in your backpack, or more commonly referred to as BP, may be equipped under the appropriate class tab. Items you have may be crafted in according to recipes in order to get new items without having to buy or trade for. These are found under the crafting tab. Once in a server, the trading tab may be used to enter the trade window to exchange items with other players. Here is a good point to check out the 4 different types of items and how people go about getting them. Firstly, we have weapons, the bread and butter of the beginner. Weapons alter the stats of the stock weapon a class uses. Weapons found are basic, common, and are very low in value. There are around 3 to 12 different variants of each type of stock weapon, and can vary in rarity and quality depending on how you get them. Weapon variants do affect gameplay. The second type of item are cosmetics, and this is the backbone of the Team Fortress 2 economy. Hats and miscellaneous items alter the appearance of your character, but not gameplay. These items are used to differentiate you from the hordes of other players. In general, hats are worth upwards of 26 normal weapons. The third item type is a fun one. They're called taunts, and they are exactly like the name suggests. They are a way to taunt your opponent.
I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
When you get a kill, a snapshot is taken of your character just after the moment where you've killed the enemy. In this moment, you have the ability to use one of your taunts to mock the enemy you've just killed so that he gets a freeze frame of you in a hilarious and dynamic position. You may taunt without a taunt item, but taunt items make your taunts considerably more unique. There are a number of pair taunts and a group taunt, which you can use just for fun to mess around with your mates wherever. The fourth and final type of item are called tools, the most common of which are crates, which are worth next to nothing to most players. But as crates age, the contents of those crates become less common, and therefore the crates themselves increase in value. Other tools include keys, which are used to open crates, and these are the expensive part. They are valued at $250 US on the Steam store. There are name tags, which are used to rename your items, paint, to colour the items that allow paint, and there are a number of other tools that you'll discover as you play. How do I get these things, you might ask? With the exception of keys and tour of duty tickets, most yellow unique quality items may be found via the item drop system, in which periods of gameplay are rewarded by items being magically teleported into your Mary Poppins style backpack.
I always said the place to hang a hat is on a hat stand.
You can also gain items by completing achievements. Now these weapons that you get through completing achievements are not tradable, and so if you mix this non-tradable weapon with a tradable weapon, the result will be non-tradable, and there's no way to separate those two out. So if you ever find an item through an achievement, separate it to the side, because you don't want to mix that with anything. That item is now yours and will forever be yours, so don't mix it with the other stuff. And you can unbox crates to get new items, which I'll explain later. Now let's go back to our final tab of interest on our main menu, and another way to get items, the Manco store. If you haven't already, I highly recommend buying 2 keys from the Manco store. I find this is easiest as the minimum you can put on your Steam wallet is $5 US, and the keys are $2.50 each. This will make you premium, which means you get 6 pages instead of 1, and it allows you to find hats as well as weapons as item drops. Now remember this is very important. Unless you're rich, don't buy hats or weapons from the store. The only things that aren't a waste of money are the tools, specifically tour of duty tickets and Manco keys, and possibly paints for your hats. Everything else can be attained so much cheaper with trading, and so I urge you, please don't buy anything other than those things from the store. And finally, what we're all here for, the main way to get what you want, trading.
How am I to pay for all this? I haven't any money.
I've avoided any fancy economic jargon, but there is one thing that we all like, and that is money. And to explain why, I'll tell you a term. Double coincidence of wants. Basically, this is the idea that it's hard to find people who want to swap item A for item B, so we use currency to get around this unlikely situation. In TF2, there are 3 primary forms of currency: metal, keys, and earbuds. Okay, so metal is the most common form of currency that you can get, and you get it by crafting 2 weapons of the same class together. This produces 1 scrap metal. Now 3 scrap metal can be turned into 1 reclaimed metal, and 3 reclaimed metal can be turned into 1 refined. That means 1 refined is equal to 9 scrap or 18 weapons. Pretty much everybody sells things with respect to refined, and so if they want to sell something for 1 refined, 1 reclaimed, and 1 scrap, they will say that they're selling something for 1.44 refined, and they refer to 1 scrap as 0.11. Keys are currently 13.33 refined, and earbuds are currently 15 keys. Now it's important to know that the value of keys with respect to refined and buds with respect to keys, they change all the time, just as normal money does, with effects like inflation and that sort of thing. Okay, now that you know what you're spending, let's check out the item qualities. An item's quality depends on how you got that item. There are a number of different qualities, beginning with unique. In addition to the normal unique items with the yellow border, unique items can also be uncraftable and untradeable. And like I said earlier, if it's untradeable, make sure you don't mix it with something that's tradeable. Vintage items have a blue border around it. There will be no more vintage items created, so those that exist are the only ones that will continue to exist. Vintage items in general are worth more than unique items. That brings us to haunted items. Haunted items have a light, almost teal coloured border around it, and these are special items that are released at Halloween at a higher rarity than the unique forms of those Halloween items. Then we have genuine items. Genuine items have a dark green border, and these are the items that are released with promotions alongside other games that get pre-ordered. On some strange occasions, genuine items are worth less than their unique counterparts because so many people pre-order the game that they become more common than their unique form. Then we have strange items. Strange is an item quality most commonly found on weapons. Strange weapons have an orange border around it, and they count kills. If they happen to be on a cosmetic, they count points. Strange items can be upgraded with strange parts, so they can count other things other than just kills. That brings us to collectors. Collectors' items are created by putting 200 unique forms of that item into a special kit, which then produces the collector's item. So a collector's item is always worth at least 200 times a unique item of that form, with the exception of the ridiculously rare self-made item, which is given to players who actually create items that are implemented in the game. The most rare item to find and trade for and collect are unusuals. Unusuals are especially rare because there is a 1 in 100 chance of getting it from a crate, and it is especially rare because it gives you a particle effect which makes you even more fancy in game. Unusuals have the special quality color of purple. That pretty much covers the basics of Team Fortress 2 and what makes up the Team Fortress economy. The most difficult and risky part of trading is not knowing the value of an item. Now, item values are based primarily on popularity and rarity. There are 3 particular websites that will really help you get an idea of the worth of any item that you have or may be interested in. The first is stats.tf. This website provides statistics on public inventories, which allows you to search any item you have or want. Then you can see if it's extremely common or unobtainably rare. This is particularly useful for unusual hats, as they are affected much more radically by how many exist than anything else. The second website is TF2 Outpost. This is a trading website. You can search the item you are curious about, and the result will give you an idea based on the number of that item that is being sold and the range of prices of that item. The third is backpack.tf. Now, this is the most common pricing system, and most trading servers have a price check system linked to backpack.tf. The prices are subject to voting, which means for common strangers, hats, and low-tier items, it's a really good indicator of value in metal. But you have to remember that it is not a price list, it is a price guide, as it merely sums up a group of opinions. When you own an item, you get to value it, even if you choose the value so high no one wants to trade for it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap this up with the final topic of part 1, which is marketplaces. Now, all trading occurs in marketplaces, whether it's in Team Fortress or in real life or wherever. Now, the websites I told you about, TF2 Outpost and backpack.tf, both have classifieds, and these classifieds are a form of marketplace. There are less popular sites like TF2 TP and bazaar.tf, which are very similar. These are more or less the same style, but far less successful. There is the increasingly popular Steam Community Market. This market is controlled by Valve and allows you to buy items straight from your Steam wallet. Because these items are traded with respect to real-time money instead of in-game currency, you'll often find them considerably cheaper than trading websites and trade servers. There is also a much lesser known market in the Reddit forum posts that allow some discussion, which is /r/TF2 trade. But most importantly and most obviously, trade servers are the most reliable and most enjoyable forms of trading. You can freely discuss, negotiate trades, you can express yourself, make friends, and show off your new items while actually playing in the game. That just about sums up the basics, and if you weren't already prepared, you are ready to learn about trade tactics and earn some profit to get what you want, which is sick hats. Alright, thanks for watching. Check out part 2 and await further vids from me, Jed the Jedi. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Peace out.